Greetings, this is Scotty Reed of Black Talk Media Project with a Media Watch video for you. On today's segment, I want to focus on something that is dominating the mainstream media right now, as I've been watching MSNBC, CNN, also checking social media. And right now, what is a hot topic is they're talking about Donald Trump and his role in quote unquote birtherism, which refers to the 2000, we should go back to 2007, 2008 campaign for president launched by President Barack Obama, who was then Senator Obama, and how there were questions of whether or not he was actually born in Hawaii, thus being a U.S. citizen. And many people were saying he was not born in the United States, the continental United States, and that he was ineligible by the U.S. Constitution to run for president. Now, certainly, I remember that time period. Again, had already been a year into doing my own internet radio broadcast, but I do remember that campaign vividly, and I remember all of the racism and birtherism that was being promoted, mostly at the time by right-wing media. But as Hillary Clinton's campaign was losing ground, the Puma, remember that, Party Unity My Ass? I remember there was a radio show on Blog Talk Radio where these were white suspected racist Democrats who follow behind Hillary Clinton and the Clintons in general and have supported them and have heeded their racist dog whistles over the years, which was key in getting Democratic support for the 1994 crime bill that we are now dealing with, as we have prisoners all over the nation engaging in prison strikes in protest of prison slavery, and that particular bill increased the prison population, I've read, up to 700%. A lot of money was directed by the Clinton administration to private prisons, which now we are in 2016, and the Department of Justice is saying it's ending its contracts with private prisons. So again, a lot of this is misdirection by the media, the focus on Donald Trump and his role in birtherism. Again, he had a role in it as well. All of this stuff is documented, but Fox News was really promoting it hard. And again, as I stated, the Hillary Clinton campaign had a role in it as well. And it was, I think, rightly reported that it was birthed by the campaign of Hillary Clinton and by her racist suspected supporters, or suspected racist supporters. So anyway, I came across an excellent article today as I've been, again, scanning the news feeds and what have you, and I went to PolitiFact, and they're being mentioned, and watching some of the cable news channels, and they're basically trying to whitewash Hillary Clinton's campaign and her self role in birtherism and racism, which is birtherism is an expression of racism. So this excellent article was published by dailywire.com. Now, I don't know much about this platform or this website. I don't know if they just focus on politics. I don't know if they focus on news in general. I don't know if their leanings politically. All I know is like what Malcolm X said, that the truth is the truth no matter who tell it. So none of that kind of stuff is important to me. What is important to me is the truth. And this article does a excellent, and let me see if I can find the author, looks like a person by the name of John Nolte, did an excellent job in documenting this. So let's just jump down to the facts as he documents them. He says, number one, and he's saying all his sources are mainstream media sources. And I remember in the mainstream media, especially Keith Olbermann going on that epic rant on MSNBC, calling out Hillary Clinton, who on more than one occasion suggested that President Obama, or excuse me, at the time, candidate Obama may get assassinated ahead of the California primary, so I should stay in the race. And she repeated this to a number of news editorial boards. Some of it was captured on video. And I mean, Keith Olbermann really ripped her to suggest that, to even put that out there in the air with all of these racist crazies who fear a quote unquote black president or a black person becoming president. So, but let's get back to his article. Birtherism was birthed in Hillary Clinton's campaign memo. In 2007, a full year before anyone would know the name Orly Tates. Remember her? I think she was like a Russian immigrant or the descendant of Russian immigrants, but she talked like she had a Russian accent. But she was on Fox News all the time and other outlets as well. I remember Orly Tates with the long fake eyelashes, blonde hair woman. So Hillary's chief campaign strategist, Mark Penn, would craft a wide-ranging strategy memo that included questioning the very Americanness of then Senator Barack Obama, who was even then seen as Hillary's chief rival for the nomination. From The Atlantic, and he does provide links to his sources. Excellent job, Mr. Nolte. From The Atlantic, Penn wrote, I cannot imagine America electing a president during a time of war who was not at his center, fundamentally American in his thinking and in his values. Penn proposed targeting Obama's lack of American roots. That's from The Atlantic. That's mainstream. Again, and this wasn't just some county level campaign chair or something like that. A volunteer. This was her chief campaign strategist, Mark Penn. All right, moving down. Bloomberg wrote an article on it in 2012, The Democratic Roots of the Birther Movement. Penn also suggested how the campaign might take advantage of this. Every speech should contain the line that you were born in the middle of America to the middle class in the middle of the last century, he advised Clinton, and talk about the basic bargain as about the deeply American values you grew up with, learned as a child, and that drive you today. He went on, let's explicitly own American in our programs, the speeches and the value. He doesn't. Let's add flag symbols to the backgrounds of campaign events. So again, you know, with shout out to Colin Kaepernick and all the others who have refused to pledge allegiance to a flag that symbolizes racism, symbolizes slavery, just symbolizes racial inequalities in this country. But again, flags, all of those ceremonies are propaganda that you have been taught as children. These are like program. These are program. How can I put this? When you do it without even thinking, because you've been doing it since a child, and you never even question the fact that, as Colin Kaepernick pointed out, the person who wrote the anthem was a racist enslaver. Number two, Hillary's hardcore supporters first raised the question of Obama's birth. As the contest between Obama and Hillary became increasingly ugly, it was Hillary's hardcore supporters who first raised doubts about the origins of Obama's birth. Hillary gave her blessing through her silence. It wouldn't take long, though, before her campaign became directly involved. This is from Politico. Again, he has the links. That theory first emerged in the spring of 2008 as Clinton supporters circulated an anonymous email questioning Obama's citizenship. Barack Obama's mother was living in Kenya with his Arab African father late in her pregnancy. See, this man wasn't even Arab. His father, Barack Obama Sr., I believe it was. I'm not sure. He was Kenyan. No Arab mix. He was purely Kenyan, African descent. She was not allowed to travel by plane then, so Barack Obama was born there, and his mother then took him to Hawaii to register his birth, asserted one chain email that surfaced on the urban legend site Snopes.com in April 2008. And so even Snopes, I have found, have been trying to whitewash this history and now trying to say, just point everything at Donald Trump. Again, Donald Trump was part of that crew too. He was part of that crew too. He probably was supporting Hillary back then. I can't recall right now. He might have been a McCain supporter, but speaking of McCain, he was the only one to question when he was out on the campaign trail when that was brought up by a person who was allowed to ask a question of him, one of his supporters, and he snatched the mic from her and said, absolutely not. He is an American, and, you know, the rest is history on that front. The Daily Telegraph in 2011 wrote, the birth of Roe began with Hillary. It was not until April 2008, at the height of the intensely bitter Democratic presidential primary process, that the touch paper was properly fit. An anonymous email circulated by supporters of Miss Hillary Clinton, Mr. Obama's main rival for the party's nomination, thrust a new allegation into the national spotlight that he had not been born in Hawaii. Number 3, Hillary Clinton's own campaign distributes Obama is a scary Muslim email. So again, I'm seeing denials. I think I even seen Joy Reid on MSNBC, and all of these denials that Hillary Clinton or her campaign was tied to this sort of stuff. And it just, again, just focusing all on Trump. PolitiFact. In the fall of 2007, it was clear that Clinton was losing ground in Iowa. The presumptive frontrunner was vulnerable, and people in the campaign knew it. On December 5th, 2007, the online magazine Politico posted the text of an email that had been forwarded by Judy Rose, the volunteer chair of the Clinton campaign in Jones County, Iowa, on November 21st, 2007. The email was a quintessential smear that offered a distorted biography of Obama's early years. Rose offered no commentary on it. She simply passed it along. Obama takes great care to conceal the fact that he is a Muslim, the email said, and it ended with, the Muslims have said they plan on destroying the U.S. from the inside out. What better way to start than at the highest level, through the President of the United States, one of their own. Again, these are Democrats. These are racist Democrats. So again, you know, how logical is it for black voters to, and I'm not suggesting they turn to the Republican Party. I'm suggesting that they start looking at the Green Party or starting new parties. Got to start somewhere. I would recommend going to the website IamOneOfTheMillion.com if you are a black voter, as that is a grassroots movement to create a black voting lobby, business and voting lobby. So check that out, IamOneOfTheMillion.com. So let's continue on. Judy Rose was not fired until after the media discovered her email. So again, this stuff was, the Clinton campaign knew this stuff was going on, and they didn't really say anything about it. They allowed it to continue because they was benefiting from it, or thought they would, until the media, the mainstream media, started calling them out on these things. And then, you know, people would be forced to resign and what have you. Sort of like, what's her name from Florida, the former Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who through leaked emails of the DNC, she was forced to resign after it was revealed that the DNC violated its own rules to tip the scales in Hillary Clinton's favor, wouldn't schedule the usual number of presidential debates or debates between the primary opponents, and just all kinds. So she was forced to resign. So, you know, again, the people that are associated with Hillary Clinton are some of the most disgusting racists in the country. And black people have to stop thinking that these Democrats are our friends. They are not. A second Hillary campaign staffer sent a similar email. So that one is from PolitiFact. A few days later, a second volunteer in a different county stepped down when it was learned that she forwarded a similar email in October. Number 6, Obama privately confronted Hillary over her birtherism. This is such a juicy story, he writes, and from PolitiFact. The excerpt is, the episode in Iowa fueled a testy exchange between Obama and Clinton on the tarmac of the Reagan National Airport in December 2007. According to accounts from people who were there, Obama complained about the emails and Clinton boiled over in anger. Talk about temperament. When asked about Clinton and the Obama Muslim myth, Josh Swern, a spokesman for the Clintons' current campaign, told us Clinton never pushed that. That's what we're hearing today. Same old lies as if, and yeah, most of the masses have short memories, and they turn to the mainstream media to inform them of these things. But they're going off an entirely different script today, as we know from, again, released internal emails of the Clinton campaign has its friends in the mainstream media. friends in high places. Why shouldn't they? When the Clintons helped Bill Clinton especially helped push the 1996 Telecommunications Act, which led to the consolidation of 90% of the media in being controlled by only 6 big media corporations. So, of course, they got friends in the media. The Obama campaign blasted Clinton over the Obama in a turban photo. Y'all remember that photo? Let me go ahead and pull it up. I actually did another video about a week ago pulling up this photo when I was pointing out that Hillary Clinton was part of this. So there's the photo. Y'all remember that? Okay, let's go back to the article. The Guardian. Obama's campaign manager, David Plouffe, described it as the most shameful, offensive fear-mongering we've seen from any party, either party in this election. Again, they will be hardcore racist. Obama has had to spend much of the campaign stressing he is a Christian and not a Muslim and did not study at a madrasa. Plouffe describes circulation of the picture as part of a disturbing pattern. It's exactly the kind of divisive politics that turns away Americans of all parties, he said. It gets better. The Clinton campaign pretty much admits they released a photo. And again, I covered this in my video about a week ago from the Slate. Then at 10:54 a.m., Clinton's campaign manager, Maggie Williams, pierced the quiet with her own release. Enough, she wrote. If Barack Obama campaigns wants to suggest that a photo of him wearing traditional Somali clothing is divisive, they should be ashamed. Hillary Clinton has worn the traditional clothing of countries that she has visited and had those photos published widely. I do not recall seeing any photos of the sort. She goes on to say Obama is trying to distract from the serious issues. Note that they never refuted Drudge's piece. More detail on that piece of story is trickling in. Let's take a moment to review. Obama's campaign thinks Clinton is trying to be divisive by encouraging the Obama is a Muslim myth. Clinton's campaign thinks the Obama campaign is being divisive because it thinks Clinton's campaign is being divisive. So again, they were documented, as I documented in my prior video, as being the source of that video. People in her campaign, those immediately surrounding her and advising her back in 2008. In 2007, Chris Matthews blasted Hillary over birtherism. And so it says, let's go ahead and take a listen to what he said back then. Chris Matthews.
Let's all listen to former Senator Bob Kerrey, Clinton supporter, talk up rival Barack Obama.
There is a smear campaign going on, and people acting as if he's an Islamic Manchurian candidate. And I feel it's actually a substantial strength. He is a Christian. Both he and his family are Christians. They've chosen Christianity. But that connection to Indonesia and a billion Muslims on this earth, I think, is a real strength and an awful lot of value in his foreign policy efforts. I've told Barack Obama when I've met with him, it's something that I've spoken about before, so this is not something that just sort of came out of the head birth out there in Iowa. I thought about it a great deal. I've watched the blogs try to say that you can't trust him because he spent a little bit of time in a secular madrasa.
So is Hillary backer Bob Kerrey pretending to sell Obama but clearly putting the shiv in? Here's Hillary Clinton defending him and Bob Kerrey. I think the remarks were very positive. I know Bob. He was being very complimentary of Senator Obama. He was making a point that Senator Obama makes himself all the time, that because of his upbringing and his heritage, he's, in his view, catch that line, very well suited to communicate with the rest of the world. And he has just said himself that he wants to have a particular outreach to the Islamic world. So I think Senator Kerry was being, very generous in what he said. But didn't Hillary dump on Obama a few days ago for playing up his Indonesian roots? So what's she up to here? Is she pushing how great he is for having been born in Indonesia, or what? Or simply reminding everybody about his background, his Islamic background? So what's she up to here? Is she pushing how great he is for having been born in Indonesia, or what?
So what's she up to here? Is she pushing how great he is for having been born in Indonesia, or what? So what's she up to here? Is she pushing how great he is for having been born in Indonesia, or what?
Okay, that is some of the craziness he was warning us about at the end of this video. All right, so obviously that is, again, from one of these Clinton supporters who made this video. Now, Hillary's nasty, number 10, Hillary's nasty, as far as I know, on 60 Minutes. When asked about her and her supporters' role in the birther movement, Hillary told 60 Minutes that Obama is not a Muslim as far as I know. The clip is amazing, he writes. Let's take a listen.
You don't believe that Senator Obama's a Muslim?
Of course not. I mean, that's, you know, that there is no basis for that. You know, I take him on the basis of what he says, and, you know, there isn't any reason to doubt that.
You said you take Senator Obama at his word that he's not a Muslim. You don't believe that he's a Muslim?
No, why would I? There's no, there is nothing to base that on, as far as I know.
It's just scurry.
All right. So again, this woman's a lawyer. I've been, you know, paying attention to Hillary Clinton for years, man. She just scares me because she just lies with a straight face like that. Just comes out with these lies. So Hillary Clinton started the birther issues. Let's see, Bloomberg managing editor John Heilerman. Let me see, what more does anyone need? And let me reiterate again that not a single one of my sources is anything other than a mainstream media news outlet. So I'm not going to play this last one, but as you pay attention to as you watch mainstream media today, and you will note that most of the coverage, I've yet to see anybody speak about any of these things that have been brought up during the course of this video or in this great article on the dailywire.com by let's give him his due for such a great article documenting the birtherism of Hillary Clinton and her campaign, as well as her racist supporters, but Mr. John Nolte. Great job, Mr. Nolte. And the last thing, well, no, this is Media Watch. I'm not going to go into anything else, but I will say this. It's quite disturbing to see that Mr. Obama and Mrs. Obama both have forgotten. I'm sure they haven't forgotten, but are so willing to endorse this woman. I'm still trying to figure out why he gave her a job at the State Department. But this woman has a long history of a connection to the racist element within the Democratic Party and has also worked across the aisle with racists in the Republican Party. So these are the facts. Don't allow the mainstream media to lie to you today. If anybody has any questions, point them to this article, Hillary Invented Birtherism, 11 Things the Media Won't Tell You. All right, this is Scotty Reed for this Media Watch segment from the Black Talk Media Project. Visit us online at blacktalkmediaproject.org. Feel free to make a donation to our North Carolina-based nonprofit new media organization.